Right, so I'm going to read through the test. This is the weather unit test. This is an open notes test, so you can use any of our classwork, including bell ringers, practice sheets, and the study guide on this test. So here's a spot for your last name and your first name, and then we'll get started with number 1. If I'm going too fast, you can pause me at any time or rewind or fast forward, whatever you need. So number 1, what do we call the stages of the water cycle that occurs when liquid water heats up and changes into vapor and then rises up into the atmosphere? A, precipitation, B, evaporation, C, condensation, D, decomposition. Number 2, cold air has more molecules occupying a cubic centimeter of space than warm air. Therefore, it has blank pressure. A, higher, B, lower, C, the same, D, half the. Number 3, spilling oil into a body of water would be an example of which type of water pollution? A, eutrophication, B, chemical pollution, C, biological pollution, D, thermal pollution. Number 4, true or false, if a factory dumps hot water into a river that is naturally much colder than the water from the factory, this is a form of pollution. True, this is an example of chemical pollution. True, this is an example of thermal pollution. False, this is not pollution. True, this is an example of biological pollution. Number 5, when water vapor evaporates directly from the pores of plants, it is called A, transpiration, B, evaporation, C, sublimation, D, dictation. Number 6, what is humidity? A, water found under the ground due to infiltration. B, when water vapor evaporates from the pores of plants. C, when a solid like ice or snow evaporates directly into vapor. D, the amount of water vapor present in the air. Number 7, a barometer is a very important tool when predicting and forecasting the weather. What does a barometer measure? A, it measures the humidity in the air. B, it measures air pressure in millibars and Hg. C, it measures wind speed in miles per hour. D, it measures air temperature. Number 8, on a summer evening, a barometer reading shows a gradual increase in air pressure. The humidity is 80%. The thermometer reading is slightly increasing. Based on these data, what type of weather should be expected for the next day? A, cool and rainy. B, cloudy and cold. C, clear and sunny. D, rainy and windy. Number 9, the blank is the source of all energy in our atmosphere. A, moon. B, water cycle. C, Coriolis effect. D, sun. Number 10, liquid water is heated by the sun, changes into vapor, and evaporates into the atmosphere. As it reaches the upper atmosphere, it starts to cool down. The cooled vapor begins to change back into tiny droplets of liquid water and clump together. This stage of the water cycle is a blank and forms blank. A, precipitation, clouds. B, evaporation, rain. C, condensation, clouds. D, precipitation, rain. Number 11, a blank is a large body of air that has the same properties, such as similar temperature and humidity levels. A, air mass. B, cloud. C, tornado. D, front. Number 12, at 1 o'clock p.m., the air temperature was 78 degrees Fahrenheit. The air pressure was 30.0 inches of mercury with partly cloudy skies. By 4 o'clock p.m., the temperature dropped to 62 degrees Fahrenheit and the pressure dropped to 29.5 inches of mercury. Which best describes the weather for later that afternoon? A, snowstorms. B, rainstorms. C, sunny and mild. D, hot and humid. Number 13, a blank is where more than one air masses meet each other. A, a cloud. B, a front. C, a climate. D, a flood. Number 14, this fast-moving front pushes warm air upward and causes violent thunderstorms. What front is this? A, warm front. B, cold front, C, stationary front, D, occluded front. Number 15, high pressure means good weather because blank. A, the air masses rise. B, the air masses sink, making it difficult for clouds to form. C, clouds are blown away by wind. D, it is high in the atmosphere. Number 16, the map below shows the weather today. Use the information provided to predict the weather for tomorrow in Minneapolis, which is right here. A, the weather tomorrow in Minneapolis will probably consist of a hurricane. B, the weather tomorrow in Minneapolis will probably consist of warmer temperatures and rain. C, the weather tomorrow in Minneapolis will probably consist of cooler temperatures and thunderstorms. D, the weather tomorrow in Minneapolis will probably consist of high pressure and rain. Number 17, an anemometer is often found on the top of cruise ships and tall buildings. What does this tool measure? A, wind speed. B, wind direction. C, air pressure. D, the amount of precipitation. Number 18, what type of weather is Seattle having today based on the map? Seattle's right here. A, Seattle is having a cold, rainy day. B, Seattle is having a nice, clear, sunny day. C, Seattle is having a hot day of thunderstorms. D, there is experiencing a drought. Number 19, Ellie checked the following weather data for the National Weather Service. What weather can Ellie expect? Partly cloudy, temperature is 43 degrees Fahrenheit, winds northwest at 12 miles per hour, air pressure is 30.1 and rising, humidity is 54%, dew point is 37%. A, warm and rainy day. B, cool and sunny day. C, cold and snowy day. D, hot and sunny day. Number 20, areas of low pressure usually have blank. A, cloudy and stormy weather. B, good weather. C, descending air. D, none of the above. Number 21, what kind of weather front is pictured below and what kind of weather is associated with it? A, occluded front. This type of front brings thunderstorms and steady rain. B, cold front. As the warm air rises over the cold air, it produces storms. C, stationary front. Neither air mass is strong enough to move the other, so it causes either fairly clear skies or occasionally light rain. D, warm front. This front is warm. Number 22, biological pollution is caused by A, waste getting into the water system. B, chemicals getting into the water system. C, plastics getting into the water system. D, too much fertilizer getting into the water system. 23, which cities are probably experiencing lingering rain showers? A, Seattle and Chicago. B, New York and Los Angeles. C, Little Rock and New Orleans. D, Orlando and Miami. Number 24, a wind vane measures A, where the wind is blowing to, B, where the wind is blowing from, C, air pressure in the area, D, air temperature. And 25, students collected weather data for every 2 hours between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. as shown in the table below. Based on these data, what type of weather should the students predict for later in the afternoon? So we've got time, temperature, air pressure, wind speed. 9 a.m., it's 28 or 84 degrees Fahrenheit, 762 air pressure, wind speed of 4. 11 o'clock, it's 33 or 91 degrees Fahrenheit, 758 air pressure, wind speed is 6. 1 p.m., it's 31 or 87 degrees Fahrenheit, 736 air pressure, 16 is the wind speed. 3 o'clock, it's 25 or 77 degrees Fahrenheit, air pressure 730, wind speed is 20. So A, hot and dry.
Teachers and staff, just wanted to let you know that there is breakfast in the workroom for you to go get.
B, calm with clearing skies. C, freezing rain and snow. D, windy with precipitation. And the very last, it just says be honest. Did you study for this test and did you use any of your resources like your notes and study guides? I know I went kind of fast, but I'm just trying to get it done so that hopefully you can use this and you can pause it when you need to.